The real weapon of a knight. We often heard the tales of chivalry, of noble warriors wielding shining swords in glorious battle. The sword. Oh, how Hollywood loves the sword. But let me ask you this. Was the sword truly the knight's greatest weapon? No, it wasn't. A knight's real weapon was far more than just a blade. It was his discipline, his adaptability, his relentless training, and the arsenal he carried into battle. Let's step back in time and uncover the truth of the battlefield. When knights rode into war, the first and most fearsome weapon was the lance. Picture it. 8 to 12 feet of sheer force aimed at full gallop. A line of armored cavalry charging with lances could shatter enemy ranks in seconds. This was not just combat, this was shock and awe, medieval style. But what happens when the lance shatters upon impact? Then and only then does the sword come into play. The long sword, the arming sword, yes. These were weapons of skill and honor, but in the chaos of battle, the knight needed something even more ruthless. And so he turned to the mace, the warhammer, the poleaxe, weapons designed not for finesse but for power. Against plate armor, a sword could only scratch the surface, but a well-placed blow from a mace that could break ribs, shatter helmets, and end fights in a single strike. Still, battles are unpredictable. When the fighting came too close, when there was no space for a mighty swing, knights relied on a dagger, the misericorde, the blade of mercy. It was small, precise, and deadly. In the final moments of combat, when an enemy lay wounded but still dangerous, this dagger found its mark through the weak points in armor, delivering the last decisive blow. Which is interesting because one time French king, the French king fell off his horse, and he was pinned down by a group of peasants, and they were trying to find even a small opening in his whole armor to slide in a dagger, but they couldn't find even a small piece of armor that was vulnerable enough. And after 20 minutes of trying, I'm not joking, he was rescued by his knights. But above all these weapons, my friends, the true weapon of a knight was his training, obviously, his knowledge and his resilience. He was not just a brute with a blade, he was a master of tactics and warrior in control of his mind as well as his skill. He fought on horseback and on foot, in formations and in single combat, and he adapted to every challenge the battlefield threw at him. This is interesting because most of the time knights didn't have an occasion to meet on the battlefield. Most of the time they were slaughtering enemy's army and they going through the infantry. So knight was like a tank, like a machine, killing machine. So the next time someone tells you that a knight's greatest weapon was his sword, you tell them this. It was his discipline, his adaptability, and his ability to wield whatever tool the moment required. That is the real weapon of a knight. However, Above sword, the most important was pole arms and blunt weapon. So that was the most important weapons for a close contact. Thank you for listening.